Hi, and welcome to the Houston MediaSource, which you can see over my right shoulder. Directly across the street is Minute Maid Park, and we're right at the intersection of Texas and Bastrop. So let's go inside and take a look at the facility and see who we are and what we do. Let's go. Well, we want to take you in through the main door, and this leads up to the equipment desk, and where most people, when they walk into the building, first hit. It's where you have to check in to check out equipment, or where you have to check in for use of the studio. So this is the main door that you'll see John Locke, who is our equipment manager and also the studio manager too, and he'll make sure that he gives you a copy of our rules and procedures too. And from here, John will check you out to make sure that you're qualified to use the equipment. Get your equipment, you'll be on the way. We have monitors all over the facility, and this is what you can see is going out over the air right now at about 1:10 in the afternoon. And we have full wall-to-wall programming for 24 hours. We don't repeat throughout the day. We just start, and we have all original programming throughout the day. We've entered the equipment room and also master control. And I'd like to introduce you to James Danner. James is our programming guru, right?
Yes, sir. Programming director.
And James is the one that controls the computer, that controls what you see on the air. So maybe, James, why don't you just explain a little bit about what each rack represents and what the equipment does on each rack?
Sure, Fred. This is what we call our tilt rack system, which is basically master control in another term. Basically what it breaks down to is we play a few different types of media here. Sometimes we play tapes, sometimes we play DVDs, and sometimes we play digital files off a hard drive, a computer drive. So over on this side is we have all our tape decks, ranging from SVHS down to DV Cam and Mini DV. We also have Betacam SP, and down at the bottom we have our DVD jukebox player that holds about 400 DVDs at one time. Over here is the tilt rack actual playlist here. Each one of these is a playlist, or a play event rather, ranging from tapes to DVDs, and also a few digital files are sprinkled in there as well. This is our program monitor. This actually tells us what's going on the channel right now. Right now we're having CBB, which is our community bulletin board. This is a preview monitor, which we do different types of things. Sometimes we have to encode certain programs, which means converting a tape into a digital file. So we use this preview monitor to monitor some of that. Over here we have our record decks, which we use to record the channel on a daily basis, 24 hours a day, just for our own archives, and also if we have to go back and check on a program, we have the capability of doing that. And this is the fiber optic transmitter, which actually sends a signal to your home. Fred?
And thank you, James. Appreciate it. Also, why don't we swing around here to the left, and you'll take a look at all of our equipment storage racks. And this is where you would come in, and if you are a producer here and you've qualified for use of the equipment, you would check out either a single chip camera or a 3-chip camera, depending upon your qualifications. And already we have 30 cameras ready to go, and we provide complete training so you know what exactly it is you have to do once you grab the camera. Because everything these days is menu driven, as you probably know, and it's not throwing switches anymore. You've got to be able to get into the menu and decide how you want to set speed of the lens and also other settings as well. Then we also have a lot of tripods, as you can see down there in the corner. Mark, why don't you swing down there and take a look at that? And we either have the smaller tripods or the larger tripods. We also have portable light kits as well. These are the low light kits, and they're very lightweight, and they provide excellent lighting, backlighting, and also the front 2 lights, your key lights you're going to need. And they run on very low power, but put out enough light where you really have a good scene that you can light even the darkest room. And also, we keep a good supply of cables. So if you need cables for any of the microphones that you check out, and we've got a lot of parts and pieces, as you can see, plus microphones. We've got the AKGs and the Sennheisers, as well as the wireless lavs, and we've got a stack of them. So we do have enough equipment for all of our producers, and I think there's been very few times where we've had more producer need and reservation than we have had equipment. All right, let's now move from master control and the equipment room into our editing rooms. We have two of them where we have all top-line equipment, both the iMac iMovie and also the Final Cut 5, which is an Apple product, and Avid as well. All these stations are independent of each other, so you can have, as you can see, multiple people working on each of the editing stations, editing at the same time. Here's our dub rack. If you want to make copies of what you've just edited or any final piece, you can do that, transfer it to mini DV, or even cut it over to a DVD burner. This is Studio B. In the commercial world, this is really known as a flash studio. A lot of networks and commercial stations use it when you've got a fast bit of breaking news and you need blue screen and you need to record in DV, 2 cameras, and you can get on the air directly from this studio back into master control and then out to the world. Okay, let's move now from our Flash or B studio into the main studio. And I just want to point out with this plaque, the studio is named after Cal Jones, who worked here as executive director a long time ago. And Cal originally hired Dan Rather and Ernie Kovacs, so he's a famous television personage. Very large studio. You can shoot from 3 different set angles. It's a 4-camera studio, as you can see. We've just got a new set of lights that we have put up. And from here, we do a lot of live programming. We've had audience as well. We've had as many as 30 or 40 people sitting behind me with the main sets behind you. And from this angle, you can also see our cameras, all Sonys, all in great shape, produce a wonderful picture. And everything is fed through into the control room. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let Mark, who is behind the camera, describe what it is that each piece of equipment does and have him push in and do the close-ups at the same time. Mark, so why don't we just start over here and let's just talk about the recording rack. Why don't you start there?
Okay. You want to shoot?
Yeah, I'll shoot.
Okay. 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 This is our online master control. It controls, we have SVHS, we have Betacam SP, we have DVCam, camera controls for 4 cameras. This is our edit recorder. It is DVCam. These are controls for the decks. It's a waveform monitor and a vector scope. They're used to measure video signals, so you have proper levels and some other measurements. This is a CG we used to send messages to our talent. We also have, this is an old editing controller. Everything's going digital and software based, but this still works. This is the old way of doing things. We're transitioning. This is our switcher. It's called a 1.5 mix effects. Basically, you can do, this is the mix effects here, and this is the program preview bus down here. This is our preset monitor and our program monitor. This tells you what's going out to the air. These are our preview monitors for the 4 cameras. This is an intercom station so that the director and the crew can all talk to each other. This is our audio board, 16 channel, CD audio, cassette audio, audio amplifier. This is an audio compressor limiter. And this is the air monitor. This tells the director in this room when, what's on the air now, and when the program feed from this room switches to this screen, you're on the air. This is our DVE, that stands for Digital Video Effects, computer-based manipulation of a picture. Down below that, we have our character generator. It's not booted up right now, but there it goes. It's, you know, typing text on a screen. You've seen that before. And this room is, it's Old Faithful. It works.
Let's make one more stop here and visit one of our premier suites, our editing rooms, where we have Final Cut 5 work going on right now on a new series called Content, which is a series of shows on sculptors and artists and musicians. And our first highlight is Mr. David Haddix, who just happens to be here looking at the first piece that we almost have ready. I do want to introduce Robert Johns, who is the main editor and producer of this. Hello. And also David. David, it's great seeing you, by the way.
Thank you.
How do you like what you see so far with this piece?
I really love it. I think it's coming together very well. I'm very pleased.
David, by the way, is the sculptor who put together that massive 66-foot statue, 67-foot statue of Sam Houston that you see on the I-45. And we were just talking about the weight of the thing, and I think, how many tons did you say?
No, we couldn't calculate it. 100 tons or 80 tons. I mean, the base itself was 1 million pounds of concrete or something like that.
Oh, my goodness.
The base. But the sculpture itself is probably, I don't know, 30 tons, something like that. 30, 40 tons.
So it won't come over in a windstorm?
No, it's engineered to withstand 5 times a 100-mile-an-hour gale. That doesn't mean a 500-mile-an-hour gale. That doesn't exist, but maybe a 120-mile-an-hour gale.
You know, if that were to happen, David, we would all be in trouble. I wanted to also show you the scheduling and the programming department. And this is where all of the material and all the media that comes in for air is stored and where it's put into order. So James, who we will introduce in just a minute, can load it into the tilt rack machine and also the DVD or the other players that we have. You can see all the mini DVs that we have along the wall, as well as the beta SP tapes as well. And here's James again, and this is where he makes all decisions as to where in the program schedule a program goes. Some of these programs are series, and they have regular time slots, and some of them are put in at random in slots where we have open air time. But James is the one who, he's like the old traffic manager in a commercial television station. He's in charge of scheduling all the programming and placement of all of the programs in their proper slot. Well, that's it. That's a brief look at our facility and some of the people who make the programs that you see on the air possible. Thank you very much for stopping by. And I think what we should do now is talk a little bit more about who we are and what we do. Thanks again.